Well, good evening to everybody. Welcome to another Elliott Waves on cryptos. It's been probably a week since we last talked. Nothing special has happened. We've seen a lot of correlation between technology stocks and Bitcoin. And now we see something of sort of a decoupling going back to the inverse correlation against the US dollar as stocks, and indices are falling today, but BTC is holding quite well. Actually, Ethereum is doing much better, but today, unfortunately, we're not here to talk about Ethereum, but we're going to respect the vote of the QIC community and have a quick look on FTM once again. I think it's been 3 weeks since we talked about it. I think we were looking for a flat, and we still are in that wave C of these flats. Similar structure with BTC, I would say, but in a much smaller scale, obviously. So I'm going to start with BTC. I will try to keep it short. It's probably a bit boring for those who keep watching and you see the same count and the same alternative all the time. So I will just want to encourage those who are watching this and don't know what the alternatives are to go and see any of my previous videos. That includes also FTM. You can have a look at Ethereum, ADA, Matic, call it what you want. So without further ado, let's go on the charts. And just as a reminder, don't forget, this is purely educational. In my group, in my Telegram group, private, a lot of these short-term structures are identified so that investors remain, not just informed, but well ahead of markets and the rest of the participants, of course. So let's go on BTC FTM and we close the week there. Right, so I'm gonna start with a clean chart once again. You know what we're expecting, guys. A, B, and C. Do I see more downside? Yes. Why? Because this is corrective. Okay. How do I justify the downside? You've got 1 and 2. You've got 3 and 4. And you've got an extended fifth. Okay, and why? Because volumes are mainly increasing in this leg. We're not, like seeing volumes in wave 3 increases all the time. Obviously, sometimes, especially when you get extended fifths, it might be the case that the fifth had most of the volume. So in this particular case, I want to also review this being a wave 1, this being a wave 2, this being a wave 3, this being a wave 4, and then getting down for wave 5. And of course, we can end around the previous low, 29, or much lower if this is going to become an expanded variation. Now, don't forget that 5 waves down means that it can be 1 or A. So, and we'll go back to an alternative that we used to talk for a while. If my wave 4 ended here, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, okay, that means that we're going to get an A, B, and a C instead. What are the implications of this particular scenario? Well, to be fair, if we have a running flat, we're not going to stop. We're just going to keep going up and going to go to a fresh time high, right? All-time high. Depending on the low, let's assume the low is here for now, we need to pay attention to the 50 Fibonacci extension in this particular case. Why? Because this is where sentiment is going to switch. Okay, so that's a very important level. Once we have the low, if we get the low, right, this is what I'm seeing happening. The 50, very important level. If we stop at 50, then the chances of that becoming a 3, 4, and 5, an extended flat, or an ABC, which means my 5 ended here, and you know this is a cycle being done, are going to increase. Okay, so we've got running flat versus expanding flat and ABC with the end of the cycle degree up at the 69k all-time high. But I don't think wave 4 is done here. You well know my opinion and why I think that. So I remain adamant with the ABC running flat for now until proven to be an expanded variation. I want to go a little bit lower down now and show you the shorter term count that I have here. As I said before, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it looks like, you know, well, the fifth might be in. We can assume that the fifth is in, but you very well know that, you know, that's not the case. So, as I said before, we're going to move this here, okay, and we're going to move this here, and we're going to move this over here, okay. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, an extended 3. Then we are on 4, and then we're going to get the fifth wave down. This is what I'm looking for now, and until proven any different. So, because this structure is an ABC, I am looking for a W, X, and Y. I have labeled this as an ABC running flat, and I'm expecting a move to the upside to bring us into another correction, which is very likely going to be an ABC. And we could go up to around the 40k, just above the 40k. And to be honest, we can even go all the way up to 45, 68 without affecting this count. But I don't think we're going to go that far. We need to first, of course, break the previous swing high over here around 39.80. But before that, we'll have a bigger stumbling block to get past through. That's this resistance, which is the minute degree base channel top line. Okay, once we get that past that and we get the 62, we can perhaps go and meet the minor degree channel resistance a bit higher. Now, are there any chances that this is a different structure? Yes, and I will show you quickly because we don't want to spend a lot of time doing the same thing over. Now, this, that would mean that we have something like an A, like a leading diagonal, if that makes sense, right? We'd have in this case a leading diagonal here, which means if we get a new top right above that level, then we very likely correct deep and then we'll continue up. And that can be an ABC or it could be a reversal, but it's highly unlikely to be a reversal, okay? So, what else can we have here? Well, we can have that wave X being here and that wave Y being here, and that is the fourth done, which means this 5 wave move to the downside. Well, it's the 5 wave move to the downside. This is my ABC and we're going to go lower. Okay, we get 1 and 2 and we'll continue all the way down. Or it might just be an ABC. You know, we don't know, guys. We don't know. It might be an ABC and that might turn into a huge triangle. Okay, but according to the correction in wave 2, it doesn't look like it. Actually, it's already too extended. But yeah, it could be that wave W is done here, okay, and we're going to see that deteriorating further. How are we going to get any sort of idea of where we are, what we're doing, all that stuff? Well, we have to wait for the break of this short-term channel, okay? If we don't break this short-term channel, nothing changes to the count. Obviously, getting a new low over here is going to change perhaps the duration of wave C if this particular running flat, right? But nothing else until we're above the level. Even if we go lower, that could still be a case where this is going to be an expanded flat. We might come down to 90% and from there do wave Y. But given the duration of wave W, even this flat is quite overextended, okay? It might be a case where my W is going to have the same duration as wave Y, usually because these two are the actionary waves, and the reactionary wave is a bit, well, it just lasted a bit longer, right? So that's all I have to say for BTC today. Now let's go and visit FTM. We looked at the first time, like probably 3 weeks ago. And I was looking at this very nice impulsive to the upside, guys, right? And we did identify its end as well, fortunately or unfortunately. Actually, the end of a cycle is usually indicating a medium-term bearish market, right? And then a long-term upside, especially given the fact that we are just only done wave 1. Can you imagine what's going to happen when wave 2 is finished? That's going to have huge implications to the upside. Now, 1, 2, all the way up with my channel to 4, okay? And this is the base channel. And what do we see? We missed the top, right? And what else did we see? We see an ABC down here. So that's my A. What else do we see? We see a correction of at least 90%, okay? All the way up, okay? And we've actually, oh, hold on. That shouldn't be there. And that is like a wave C over here. Okay, so we've had the A, we've had the B, we've had the C. And it could also be a case that A is here, by the way, and B is here and C is there. But it's often wave A is the one that usually gets the 5 first waves. And then C is not as extended, rather than you get A and then C is highly extended. So anyway, let's leave it there. And then what else did we do? I actually left the count as last time. This is the same count as you see last time. I didn't touch anything. I moved actually 5 from here to here. So we're expecting wave 3 and it comes down with an impulse and high momentum, which is exactly what we want to see. And then we see another correction in wave 4. And guys, to be fair, this looks like the perfect move to the downside. We've got 50% correction over here and we've got 70% over here. I mean, the correction is really down at 55 because this is a false break, but it can be assumed to be okay, especially given the fact that we are in cryptos. Now, maybe 4 is not done, or maybe we're going to see something different, more extended. Now, if wave 4 is done, it is quite possible that we're going to see something like this. And that is going to turn into an ending diagonal. Now, because that also is looking corrective, though, you know, it brings into the narrative that, you know, we might have a longer period of correction. In case of that being a correction, part of this correction in a wave 4, allegedly, we wouldn't want that to be a wave 4. Okay, why? Because the 2 and the 4, I mean, don't really match the same structure. So what we would prefer in this case, we would prefer this to be an ABC, as it looks like one as well. That would be 1. That would be probably 2, or maybe we would get 2 up here, right? And then we'll get 3, 4, and 5. So instead of having the ending diagonal in 5, as I showed you before, we would have the ending diagonal in the totality of wave C. Okay, this is what the difference would be. Now, don't forget that, you know, the 90% correction is 90% correction. It's very unlikely that it's an ABC, okay? And it's also very unlikely that it's truncated. It can be truncated, but usually truncations are followed by a huge impulse move to the upside with nearly no corrections, okay? So let's exclude the truncation. Let's exclude a potential ABC because, you know, it's like, you know, very deep. Unless if, and this is the alternative, of course, unless if that would be something like a wave 1 or A, that would be actually maybe even 1 and 2. That would be then 3, 4, and 5. Why would I say that? Well, here's the thing. Waves 2 in crypto, they correct so deep, sometimes they do 99.9% of price. Very rare, no, but very often they do 90%, guys, okay? Now, the problem is that waves B of corrections, okay, they don't do that. They usually go between 40 and like 90% max, I would say, but 80 is the usual suspect. So for that reason, okay, I'm not going to have an alternative as a potential A, B, and C, but I'm going to have an alternative as a potential 1, 2, then 3, 4, and 5, which means that if that's going to be wave 1, then that's going to be, of course, a much deeper wave 2 correction in wave 2. And we should be looking to, well, something that is usually happen, but I don't think that's going to happen in this case. But according to guidelines, the wave 4 and the wave 2 is where they actually meet. Okay, so that will be 15 cents. But anyone would be calling me crazy if I'm calling this. No, I'm not calling this. I might do in the future, but for now, there is no indication that we're going down there. Okay. What is the indication for now? Well, if we continue the nice ascent that we do see, and maybe we're not even in wave 1 here, guys, right? Maybe we're still, I mean, look at this. Maybe we're still like, we have an extended fifth, you know, so that could be still the case. I would be looking at a correction to at least 1, okay? And that is like, you know, where my wave A pretty much came, right? And this is where my wave 4 is. This is the top of my wave 3. And that would be like minimum, right? If we continue to descend. Now, what do we need to look? Well, we've got this channel, obviously, that is holding prices for now because this is the base channel, right? And we've also got, and we'll have to do that as well, since this is a flat, we've also got this channel over here, which means that prices, you know, still have, looks like they have quite a room to the downside. So it might indeed end up being an ending diagonal because we're looking at around 112, even if we take this into account as a flat pattern. Okay, so I want to leave it there as well. If you have questions, just go ahead and ask. I will get back to you as soon as I can, guys. Take care. Enjoy the weekend, AJ. Enjoy the trading session. And don't forget, if you want daily updates, I post 4 videos in my group. Okay, I've recently took my bot live as well, so it has an incredible performance. If you want to know more, you can hit me up. My information is the about section, nowhere else. Don't fall for scams. There's a lot of people around. I check often, regularly, to see if there is anyone that is trying to scam people, and I report them. So make sure you contact the right me.